And then I need to hard farm down this crest with Froslass. Oh shoot, I shouldn't have done that. Okay, that's really bad. But I do get some chip damage here. Whoa. They threw that mirror shot real quick. Why? They just want to debuff me, I guess? Oh, wait, what? Wait, how is that a power whip? One he swapped in, piggybacked your Surf, and then one after. Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, they went Earthquake. Oh, wait, what? Oh, there we go. That was a smart play with the Earthquake, though. That was a good play. Wow. Yo, I got real lucky when that power whip came through on my Machamp. I didn't shield it. Man, I suck at counting. Hey everyone, I hope you're having a good week / GoFest weekend. I've got a really good line for you all for Great Lake Remix, and this line was able to carry me all the way up to number 6 in the leaderboards. A big reason for that is because of its ability to break up a bunch of meta cores in this format. So the team is Shadow Lapras, Froslass, and Shadow Machamp. I started using this team since day 1 of Great League Remix, and at the time I didn't see a single Lapras in the meta. It isn't even ranked super high on PvPoke, but it has a lot of potential. You beat Diggersby, all the Mud Boys, Mandibuzz, Froslass, Nidoqueen, Golbats, all the Flyers. It beats a lot of things in this meta, so it's super strong. Before I get into gameplay, a big shout out and thank you to all my patrons who've been supporting my content creation. If you would also like to have early access to my strategies and lineups, feel free to sign up for the Meta Breaker tier. Or if you want to see extra gameplay footage of my battles, you can sign up for the other tiers. Okay, so Diggersby. All 3 Pokemon beat Diggersby. Diggersby is the #1 ranked Pokemon on PvPoke for this format, but pretty much it's got nowhere to go. I've yet to lose to a single player using Diggersby in this meta, and Diggersby is pretty common, so that's pretty good. Maybe Diggersby will be less common later on in the second half of Great League Remix, but at the moment, it's still pretty popular. All right, so this opponent actually swaps in a Mantine into Froslass. Now here's why this team is so good. You have Lapras, right, that beats a lot of things because of its ice typing. Froslass also beats a lot of things. So a lot of people will swap to a soft check to Lapras. This opponent actually doesn't even seem to have a soft check to it. They swapped out a Diggersby against my Lapras and they swap it back in, which means they're still weak to Lapras somehow, which means they're also probably weak to Froslass here. And they are. So look at that. So you got Mandibuzz and a Diggersby versus a Lapras and Froslass. They didn't even see my Machamp yet. All right, once I see the Machamp, it's really going to be rough. But I actually don't even think this opponent does. This team is really good. I was able to climb a ton. Sometimes I made some good plays on my end, but a lot of times it was also because I just out-team comped them. Again, Mandibuzz lead. They bring in a Whiscash. Whiscash does not beat Lapras. And I have the Froslass still for the Mandibuzz, so I don't need to swap out, right? There's no need for me to swap out and give them an energy advantage. I'd rather stay in and have the energy advantage myself. So I'm not going to shield this Mud Bomb, of course. And also, something you might ask is, should I use Shadow Lapras over normal? I think normal is fine too. I like how hard Shadow Lapras hits, but it is an investment. You have to use Elite TMs for the Ice Shard and the Ice Beam. Or no, not Ice Beam, sorry. Just the Ice Shard. You don't want to run Ice Beam, you want to run Skull Bash here. So that is a consideration, but obviously for normal Lapras, that's still Legacy too, so you don't have a Lapras already with Ice Shard, you still have to burn the Elite TM. So I'm going to come in here and shield the first foul play against this Mandibuzz, and then they come in Rainy Cast. I'm surprised they didn't come in Rainy Cast into my Lapras, but that does put me in a slightly tougher position, because now I don't have I do have the alignment I want, but I'm down shields, right? Had they come in Rainy Cast into my Lapras, I would have just came in straight Machamp. And then have the Froslass against the Mandibuzz. But this is fine too, because I do outpace this Rainy Cast. I'm going to farm up a little extra energy here, just so that I have enough for the Mandibuzz. They were trying to go for a sack, but unfortunately I wasn't going to throw there, and then I do throw the Shadow Ball there. All right. Oh my gosh, my cat's squirming. I also got the ZyoniK Boom shirt too, so you know it's going to be a good day when we got the ZyoniK Boom shirt on. But yeah, so anyway, going into this matchup, again, Lapras beats Froslass, also a very common Pokemon in this meta. I'm going to shield the Shadow Ball. Most will tend to go Shadow Ball first, and then, do I double shield? Yeah, I do double shield. Yeah, so this is going to put them in kind of a tough spot. And then they swap to Mandibuzz. So again, not a great check, right? So what this is showing is that people don't have two checks to Lapras, especially in the lead. They have something that loses to it, and they swap to something else that also loses to it, right? Because it's not common, it's not something that people really think about when they're team building. So this puts me in a really good spot. So I have a Surf built up already. I'm going to build some energy on my Froslass because I need to get rid of theirs, and they are up a shield, so I need to bait them and have a shield energy lead. So I do bait them with the Avalanche there, and I go straight Avalanche again, just because it just puts a little pressure on them, right? And chip them down quite a bit, so the point where even my Machamp can handle it. So they're going to throw the Shadow Ball here, and then I'm going to come in Machamp and try to farm it down. I do end up throwing at least a Cross Chop here. I have the Surf ready on my Lapras, snipe down the Stunfisk right there, and then finish off the Froslass. So Machamp still finishing off quite healthy. Alright, against Shadow Machamp lead, so this is kind of tough. And then they come in with Empoleon. So Froslass as a safe swap is very strong, which is why I usually use it as a safe swap here. But against Empoleon, it's actually something that you actually can't win, even if you expend shield. So I'm going to expend a shield here just to weaken down this Empoleon. Main reason being, my Lapras doesn't do great against it either, so I need to put it down so that I could just like chip it down. So unfortunately I don't get too much farm off of this. I did want a full Surf ready, but unfortunately I'm still short, so I do have to tank probably 1 or 2 counters here. But I do grab their last shield, and let's hope that's something Machamp can muscle through. So I do have the shield here, and then they come in with a Nidoqueen, so unfortunate. I went Rock Slide here. You could probably go double Cross Chop, it's probably better. But I was kind of hoping that I finish off the Nidoqueen with my Lapras. I have a little bit to farm to throw a Surf at the Machamp, but unfortunately they had the Earth Power. So in that situation, that was kind of just hard counter throughout, and there's only so much you do there, right? So against another Shadow Machamp, let's see what they do. They do come in with a Bite Radicates. Kind of interesting. It's actually very deadly for his team, but hopefully I can grab a shield here, or they let it go. We'll see. And they do let the Eradicate go, so that's kind of nice. Let's see what they have in the back end. So there's a Ferrothorn. Very interesting. So I'm going to throw what do you call it? Avalanche here. It's going to do a decent amount for neutral, and then they're probably going to come in with Machamp. Yeah, they come in Machamp here, and at this point, I recognize their win con. I just need to straight fast move down. I can't get to enough moves to force out both shields. I'm going to try to counter down this Machamp, and fortunately, I put it low enough so I could Ice Shard it down with my Lapras, right? This is not great Lapras against a Grass type. I'm just hoping that these Ice Shards really add up and are able to take it out. They do throw a move. It's a Thunder. I'm kind of in a bad spot, but fortunately, it's a Power Whip, and I just barely survive. Again, if you have the Shadow Lapras, that Ice Shard damage does do a little bit more, which is why I personally like it. Okay, so against my friend Dijon here, Sirfetch'd, really tough as well, and he is running the Night Slash variant. So I am going to just shield and start throwing these avalanches. This is kind of a tough spot to be in because the Sirfetch'd does get to these moves quite quickly. So he throws another Night Slash, and then he comes in with Froslass. So really great catch by him because now I just burned all that energy and wasn't able to grab a shield with a Shadow Ball. Even if I was trying to build a Shadow Ball, I don't think I would have made it. So it was a safe swap either way, even if he didn't catch the Avalanche. I probably can't get to the Shadow Ball. So I do shield that Shadow Ball. And I take out the Froslass there. I kind of expected the Sirfetch'd to come in, but he actually comes in Cradily here, which maybe I should have stayed in. Let's see. But I don't shield the... what do you call it? The... Grass, or sorry, he doesn't shield the Cross Chop. I don't have shields left. So my play here is just Ice Shard down and Shadow Lapras just barely surviving long enough to take out the Cradily there. Alright, so this is actually really tough. This is ZyoniK's line. It's actually one of ZyoniK's patrons as well, so they knew about this line before even he made a video on it. It's very tough. Obstagoon leads in general are kind of rough, so you definitely have to swap to Froslass because you don't want to stay in there and let him farm a bunch of energy off your Lapras. What I probably could have done is shielded the Night Slash, because that makes this matchup much more doable. Instead, these Aqua Tails are going to really get spammed out quickly here, and yeah, this is not going to be good for me. So they do double shields, yeah, but I'm down shields too, so they're able to maintain switch advantage with some energy lead as well. It's going to be really tough. Now, here's why it's also particularly hard. Any Obstagoon lead tend to have double Machamp counters in the back. So luckily I was able to catch a crunch at least. But again, you know, you got a Nidoqueen. Not too much you could do here. The Nidoqueen is not an issue for my Lapras, but it's more so the Obstagoon is, right? So I'm going to try to farm this down, but they go straight Earth Power, which is the right move. I needed at least 2 Surfs to take out the Obstagoon, probably more than that. So yeah, that was a tough one. But yeah, so if you run ZyoniK line, best of luck. Can't beat them all. All right, so Wobbuffet lead, super bad too. For my Lapras, so bulky. And the only thing I have on the team that could possibly beat a Wobbuffet is my Froslass. But the thing is, I can't swap a Machamp into it. So I'm going to swap in Froslass. And here's my thought process at this point. I need to burn all their shields, right? They think I'm just trying to win Switch and I have another check to Wobbuffet. I actually don't. But I'd rather just burn down the shields and then try to handle Wobbuffet with shields down. Still not going to be easy task, right? So what are they coming with? Probably Wobbuffet. Yeah, they come with Wobbuffet. Very strong check to Machamp as well. Look, things do not tank things well from Machamp, but Wobbuffet does. Look at that Rock Slide. So hoping to catch at least a Mirror Coat here. So I do catch a move, which is nice. He comes in Registeel. This is not good either. Registeel does beat Lapras pretty consistently, especially with shields down. One charge move, I'm out of there. So my thought is I need to come and farm down this Reggie as much as possible. Unfortunately, this opponent didn't give me that much farm, so it's actually a really smart play by them. But at least it's enough for me to not have to worry about getting hit by a Flash Cannon, right? And then now I need to get to, what, 2 Rock Slides? Luckily, Mirror Coat takes a while to build to. Is this enough? Just barely, but just can counter down. So super tough lead, but there's some win cons. You just kind of have to find them. All right, Dewgong. Probably one of the best leads to see. Dewgong can't do anything to Lapras, right? They're going to debuff you, that's fine. You just go straight Skull Bash. This is why you don't want Ice Beam. You need the Skull Bash for both the Mirror for Lapras, as well as for Dewgong, for other waters like Rainy Cast Form, Lantern, stuff like that. Lantern is also actually, speaking of Lantern, is probably one of the hardest leads to go against, especially if they're running Spark. I technically only went against 1 Lantern so far, but it was running Water Gun, so I actually was able to take it out and beat it, surprisingly. But yeah, if they're running Spark, it's super tough. Again, you have a team that's weak to Lapras in the front, and their swap is also weak to Lapras, right? So this is actually really good for me. I don't need to shield this at all. It's going to be a Poison Fang. I'm going to come in with my Froslass here. This is probably another Poison Fang, but I was doing a poor job of counting, so I'm just going to shield this, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Dewgong's very low, so I pretty much have a 2v1 at this point on even shields. Pretty good, given the scenario I'm in. So I actually come in Dewgong here, which is interesting. So I am going to try to farm up a bunch of energy here. So I do that, and then they come in. What do they come in here with? Oh, Mandibuzz. All right, this is fine too. Mandibuzz with Snarl loses to Machamp, especially with the shield advantage. Snarl's resisted. People might not know this. I think a lot of people do know this, but for those that don't, Machamp does very well against Mandibuzz too. So again, the whole team also very good against Mandibuzz. You have to play against Mandibuzz throughout the whole way. Two of the top meta mons in this format, Diggersby and Mandibuzz, piece of cake. All right, Shadow Hypno. It's kind of an interesting one. Really need to see what kind of punches it's running. If it's running Thunder Punch, I'm kind of in a tough spot. But look at that. The confusion damage is just doing a ton of damage. They're actually running Psy Shock, which is a really interesting moveset. My guess is they're probably running Psy Shock and Fire Punch just for the steel coverage. So I'm just going to throw straight Surfs here. And then I'm going to let this next move go. So my play here is farm down with Froslass. Froslass against things with shields down is really strong. I'm going to shield this because it'll probably give me a Fire Punch, but this means I can farm up a little extra as well. And then they actually come in Cresselia here. This is not too bad, right? Again, shields down, Froslass does a ton of work. I'm going to farm up a little more extra and then throw this Avalanche. Let's see what they have in the back end. It's a Wigglytuff. So, my Machamp has nowhere to go. Hypno, Shadow Hypno, Cresselia, and Wigglytuff. So my play here is to counter down a Wigglytuff and throw a Cross Chop and take out this Hypno. Super close battle, but able to kind of maneuver around it, despite Machamp being almost dead weight in that matchup, right? But you know, taking that neutral damage from fighting is really nice. And then, all right, so Shadow Gardevoir. This team doesn't really have a strict charm counter, but Lapras still does pretty good because it's slightly bulky, and then Froslass is pretty good because it just outputs so much damage. So I do have to shield one of those moves, and then I'm going to throw a Rock Slide here. I can't even bait. As you can see, I'm 3 charms away from being fainted out, but that's fine. I'm going to come in, back in with a Lapras just because you could tank some of these moves a little better. And I did have the Surf ready. They throw in Diggersby. This is not that great too. Again, any team with a Diggersby on it is usually going to lose this team. I've yet to lose to a Diggersby team. I'm going to let this go. If it's a Earthquake, that's fine. Actually, it's just a Fire Punch. At this point, they don't have a lot of health left, so I'm just going to fast move it down. It's rare to see it to fast move down a Gardevoir when it's usually the one fast moving you down, but in that scenario, it made no sense for me to throw the moves. Alright, this is kind of an interesting one against Lickitung. They usually go straight Power Whip because it's so bulky, and a lot of them don't shield. So because they don't shield, I go straight Skull Bash here. It does a ton of damage. Again, Shadow Lapras there, super clutch, right? If it was a non-shadow, it would not do that much damage. They go for another Power Whip, that's fine. I'm just going to double shield. Finish off with almost 100 energy on Lapras that's also been boosted with defense, right? That's really good. My opponent actually doesn't shield there. I probably could throw another Skull Bash, but I figured I'd rather just do the guaranteed damage of Surf because they're probably going to shield at least one of these. If they shield the Skull Bash, then, you know, I'm in a tough spot, right? So I throw another Surf, and then now I come in with my Froslass here. They actually have a Sableye. This is kind of tough. So this is actually on day 1 of this format, so I don't see too many Sableyes these days. But there was that one. They actually let it go. Interesting. So I'm going to come in. They probably just didn't want me to farm down the Sableye with Lapras, which is a smart play. And I need a counter down. Fortunately, able to get the counter before they throw a move. They probably would try and decide if to throw Ice Beam or Play Rough. But because I got the counter through right when swapping in, they were not able to throw the move. So still pretty close of a matchup despite Machamp having full health in the back. Alright, Shadow Victreebel. This is a tough one. I do like to throw a Surf because they almost always shield it and swap out. Against a Lickitung here, Froslass wins this matchup if you can shield the Power Whip correctly. So let's see if that happens. I do get the Power Whip shielded, and then I have almost 2 Avalanches, so I'm going to throw one. If they shield, I throw another. They actually don't shield, so that's good. They come in Tropius here, but unfortunately they have a shield. Now I'm in a lot of trouble here. My Lapras is not too bad against Tropius, which shields up and with a lot of health, but unfortunately I don't have enough health left. I was hoping they would throw a move there. Unfortunately they don't, and yeah, this is a little tough spot. Very interesting team. A Shadow Victreebel in the lead with a Tropius in the back. I guess there's very little fire, so don't have to worry too much about it, but very fascinating team for sure. Yeah, definitely a tough one. Don't know if there was any win cons there, but yeah, definitely wanted to show that one because it's an interesting matchup. All right, so Stunfisk. You know it's Stunfisk. Not that great against Lapras. You get tank a Discharge, especially if you're running the non-Shadow, but even the Shadow version can. And then they do catch a move here. What did they come in with? It was a Scavalier, so this is actually kind of nice. I probably could have thrown Cross Chop there, but I'd rather have the energy. Because the Stunfisk is low on energy, and I'd rather have Machamp with energy is very, very strong. So I do throw a Cross Chop here. Let's see if they shield. They do shield. I get to another one. Again, that energy banked from the Scavalier farm down. Coming in really clutch here. They do have to throw the energy here, so this is really good. Now I have a Froslass. Let's come in with it, get a slight energy lead. It's an Obstagoon. This is kind of tough. Obstagoon does beat Froslass, and it beats Lapras. So my only win con here is I need to catch a move on my Lapras. So try and time this out a little better, and then boom, we caught it. I wore the boom shirt. A boom catch is probably not something ZyoniK does, but that was a boom catch in my opinion. I feel like if you do a good sack swap, that deserves a boom too. I probably should have been saying more booms, to be honest. The best boom I should have said was against the Lickitung or the Man team with the Skull Bash. But yeah, again, this team, super solid, a huge core breaker in the meta, able to carry over 3300s, and honestly, I think it has a ton of play still, even if people try to adjust for the meta. If you like this video, feel free to give it a like and share, subscribe for future content, hit that notification bell to get alerted right when I post a new video. Hope you have a wonderful Go Fest, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.